Hello friends and welcome to Edupedia World Videos. In this section of the course Basics of Programming in C language, we shall learn how to use arrays in a C code. So this is a practical exercise on declaring and using arrays inside your C code. So we have just learned in the theory classes that array is a collection of variables of a same data type. So suppose we want to store 10 numbers in a memory, one way is that we declare 10 integer variables. The other option and the shorter and the more efficient option is to use an array. Okay, so how is an array declared? First the data type, then the variable name. So we can take it as array1, or let's take it as array of numbers, so that is a more descriptive name. Okay, now we have to give in square brackets the size of the array. Suppose we want to store 4 numbers inside it, so we will write 4 and let us initialize it to all zeros. So right now all the numbers inside this array are zeros. Okay, now what we do is we will assign some values to its elements and then we will access those elements. So array of numbers, and at the index 0 I will store a number, say 1 or 10, let us say 10. Okay, now I will store the some numbers at other indices also. So I will just change this index 1 to 3. So always remember that array indexes in C begin from 0. Okay, so if the array has a length of 4, then its indices will be from 0 to 3. So 3 would be its last index, and I will store 11, 12 and 13 inside this array. Okay, now I want to print the values of the array elements, so I will do that like this: element 1. Okay, so element 1 and %d, which will store the value of this element, array of numbers and then the index. Okay, this will print the first element at the 0th index. Similarly, I will have statements for all the 4 elements, 1, 2 and 3, and inside our constant string we should also replace the numbers that we are printing over there. Okay, that is done. Now let us try and compile our code. We have saved our code, now compiled, and it is giving some error because I have used the wrong code. Instead of printf I have written print, so that is why it gave me an error. Now it has compiled correctly. Now let us run it and it will be executing our code within a few moments, and it has printed the values, but we have, again as usual, we need to specify a new line character so that the output is more clear and legible. So now if you compile the code and execute the code, you will have the values printed. So element 1 10, element 2 11, element 3 12 and 13 and so on. So here you can see that our array variable values have been printed. So that is how you access various elements inside an array using the indexes. Okay, now one more thing that we can check out over here is we can also try and print the size of our array at the end. So let us see what is the size of the array. Now logically the size of array that we expect should be, let us write it expected, because this is an array of integers and it has a size of 4, it contains 4 elements. So expected size should be size of one integer multiplied by 4, right? So we will write it over here. So expected size is %d, and we will also write that actual size Okay, here also we will write %d. Now in first %d we have to write expected size, so we will inside of bracket we will write the expression that we have just thought of, that size of one integer, okay, into 4. So it has an array of 4 elements, and expected size would be straight away if we pass size of array of numbers. So here we have passed our variable, and here we have actually computed the size. So let us see our understanding is correct or not. So both values should match if our understanding is correct. Let us save it, compile the code, and after that we will execute the code. Okay, the code is giving some error and it is saying that you should use size of. It is saying that size is an unrecognized function or symbol. Okay, now let us compile it again, and if it gets compiled, yes, it is compiled successfully. Now it will run. So expected size is 16 and actual size is also 16. So our understanding was correct. Okay, so we have seen that the size of an array is equal to number of elements in the array multiplied by size of the data type of that array. Okay, so that is another piece of knowledge for us. Now let us see what will happen if we do not initialize this array of numbers to 0. Okay, first what we will do is let us not assign value. Let us comment these two statements. So to 0th and first index nothing has been assigned. Now let us save our code, compile it, and then run it. So it is printing 0 because we have initialized all the elements to 0. Okay, now let us do one thing, comment this initialization part, and instead of it we will just write the declaration, no initialization. Now let us see what our output is. So output is some garbage value over here. So that means that what happened actually, this array of numbers is a variable which was allocated certain memory space in the computer's RAM, and that RAM was not unused. Okay, it was earlier used by some other program, so some garbage value was still lying there. So that garbage value is printing over here. So that is why we should always initialize the variables that we declare in our program if we want to avoid the havoc caused by garbage values. Suppose we were using these values in our code and we were adding something to it, so our results would have been completely different if we do not initialize them. So that is why we initialize the garbage values. Okay, now another thing is that strings in C are also arrays. Now let us play with character arrays. Strings are character arrays. Okay, so char string. Okay, and we have just learned that if we initialize the character array right at the time of declaration, we do not need to give any size over here. Okay, so character arrays can also be initialized in conventional way as we initialize the string arrays like this. So each individual character element will be declared like this if we want to store a variable RAM inside our character array. So this is also one way, and let us see if it is working or not. Printf. So what is the format specifier for strings? It is %s. So %s, and then we will have our string, and let us save this and try and execute it. So is there some error, or it is compiled? It is compiled. It is compiling. It is still compiling the code. It is taking a while to compile our. Okay, so now our code has compiled, and let us execute it. Okay, so what we have printed is RAM has got printed over here. Okay, but after RAM there are some stray characters. So what was that? Why is this for? So let us try and understand from where did these two brackets come. Okay, because we have learned that character arrays must be null terminated so that they can safely be used as strings. because character arrays are arrays, and when I executed my code, the operating system was accessing some further memory inside this scope of RAM until it did not encounter any null pointer, null character. So if I specify the null character over here only, then what? Then I should not get any stray characters. Let us try it out. And yes, now see, there are no stray characters over here. So that is why you should always have strings terminated by the null character. Okay. Now, instead of this way, if we want a shorthand notation to save strings inside C language, that we can also do. Suppose we want to save the word Rajendra inside the variable string. Now we can also do that. Again, we have not specified the null pointer, null character at the end. So let us see what happens. So this time it might have encountered a null character in the memory itself. So it is not necessary that always it will cause an error, but it is very unpredictable. So you should not ignore this null character at the end. Okay, so now it is working. It is printing the string Rajendra. Okay, now we have learned the importance of null character also, and we have learned how strings can be used and implemented using character arrays inside a C program. So I hope you understood the concepts shared in this program, and I hope you continue watching to the series Basics of Programming in C Language. So thank you and have a nice day.